The ice is melting, and underneath it sits an estimated 90 billion barrels of oil, trillions in untapped minerals, and a brand new shipping route that could reshape global trade. No wonder Russia, the US, and NATO are suddenly racing to plant flags at the top of the world. For most of human history, the Arctic Ocean was locked under ice. Impossible to sail, impossible to drill. But rising temperatures are changing that fast. Sea ice is shrinking at roughly 13% per decade, and scientists now predict the Arctic could see ice-free summers within just a few decades. That's opening two things nobody could access before: new shipping routes and resources that were frozen out of reach. Start with the routes. The Northern Sea Route, hugging Russia's Arctic coast, can cut shipping time between Europe and Asia by up to 40% compared to going through the Suez Canal. That's faster, cheaper trade, if you can pull it off. Then there's what's underneath. The US Geological Survey estimates the Arctic holds around 13% of the world's undiscovered oil and up to 30% of its undiscovered natural gas, plus massive deposits of rare earth minerals used in everything from smartphones to fighter jets. Whoever controls Arctic access controls a resource windfall unlike anything left on the planet. So who's actually competing? Russia holds the longest Arctic coastline by far and has been rebuilding Soviet-era military bases, deploying icebreakers, and expanding its northern fleet for over a decade. The United States, through Alaska, has Arctic territory too, but a fraction of Russia's icebreaker fleet, which experts have flagged as a real strategic gap. Meanwhile, NATO's Arctic footprint just grew. With Finland and Sweden joining the alliance, 7 of the 8 Arctic Council nations are now NATO members, leaving Russia increasingly isolated in a region it once dominated almost unopposed. And it's not just these players. China has called itself a near-Arctic state and is investing heavily in Arctic research and shipping partnerships, despite not bordering the region at all. The tension isn't hypothetical. Russia, Canada, and Denmark have all filed competing claims over the Lomonosov Ridge, an underwater mountain range that could extend each country's exclusive economic rights and access to seabed resources for hundreds of miles. Add in increased Russian military drills, NATO exercises near the Arctic Circle, and near-constant submarine activity, and you've got a region that looks less like a frozen wasteland and more like a slow-motion standoff. If tensions escalate, the fallout wouldn't stay local. Arctic shipping routes could reshape global trade costs. Arctic resources could shift the balance of energy power for the next 50 years. And a militarized Arctic means a new front line between NATO and Russia, one that didn't even exist as a serious flashpoint a generation ago. The ice used to be the barrier. Now it's the prize. If you want to understand the world's next major geopolitical hotspot before it hits the headlines, subscribe, because the Arctic is just getting started.